Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm joined in studio with Ralph Michaels and Bryan Leonard. We're going to break down Alabama, Georgia. It's the national championship game. It's the All-SEC, and it's Nick Saban versus a former assistant. And guys, Nick has owned his former assistants 11-0 straight up against his past meetings. But I don't know. We're talking about a national championship matchup here, guys. What do you think? I'll start with you, Ralph. Two good games last week for the playoff series. One a nail-biter, obviously, right down to the end and into overtime, and then Alabama's total dominance. What did you make of the two games?
Well, he's 11-0 straight up, 9-2 against the spread, against those 11 foes. And, you know, I just think the edge has come to Bama. I think you already see Saban playing head games, talking about how you only have a week to prepare before these games. Well, him and his assistants have done this for 3 straight years, so they know how to prepare for multiple foes. I think he's just putting that in Kirby Smart's head by complaining to the media. You know, the advantage goes to Alabama for having been here, done that. The advantage goes to Alabama with having a young quarterback, but who's been here, done that, versus a true frosh. Alabama has the edge because they started the season against Florida State in this venue. They've been there, they've done that. So to me, you know, it also comes down to that. And Georgia getting 300 yards rushing, that's how they were productive. They won't be able to do that against Bama.
Looking at this, Brian, I'll play devil's advocate to a couple of the things that Ralph said. Obviously, yes, all the experience that Alabama has because they played in so many of these, but Kirby Smart was an assistant for some of those, so he knows the drill too. So that, you know, I think negates a little bit of that. I'm going to throw the question out to you, and you never want to say that there's any type of letdown going into the championship game, but the fact that they've played Clemson the past 3 seasons now, 2 of them for the national championship, and then playing the rubber match, so to speak, does that take anything out of Alabama?
So you led me into a different direction because I thought you were going to talk about Georgia having to go to double overtime to win that game would be somewhat of a letdown here. I don't think there's any letdown when you get to the national championship. I do want to point out that the 2 teams that won were the 2 teams that were favored, that were number 3 and 4. In the finals for the group. So Vegas had it ahead of time, ahead of the people who chose the Final Four. They thought that Alabama and Georgia in those 2 games should have been favored. But yeah, Rolf's right. It's just a situation for Alabama that they are very good at stopping the run, and that's what Georgia does. But I think there's an advantage because Georgia came out in that game against Oklahoma and threw the ball around. And that's something that Alabama doesn't see. In fact, the whole SEC doesn't see that. So if you can get a team that passes the ball like that, like I thought if Oklahoma got in, Oklahoma would have really had a good chance to beat Alabama if they'd have played them. Luckily, I've got Georgia as a future bet, so I was able to keep alive in that. But for Georgia being able to throw the ball around and have success doing it last week, I think that's a big advantage for them going into this week because Alabama is not a good pass defense. They're a good run defense. And so this will be an interesting way this game goes about. I kind of expect it to be a lower scoring game because you've got an Alabama team, and you said they had that game in good hands the whole time. Well, it was the defense that put them in that spot. It wasn't the offense. The offense for Alabama really didn't do anything again. And if you look, the teams that they've played this year that are good teams, good quality players, Florida State, they scored 24. I think Auburn, they scored 10, and they played another team that was very good. It escapes me at the moment, but they scored 24 in that game. So when they've played teams with good athletes, and Georgia has good athletes, their offense struggles. And so I would assume this would be a low-scoring game. Georgia's got a really good special teams. I think they're better than Alabama's special teams. It could come down to a field goal late in the game.
LSU was the other team you were
LSU
thinking.
is correct.
Yeah. Ralph, you want to add anything?
Yeah, you know, freshman quarterback, a true freshman quarterback in a national championship. Only one has won. That was Jamal Holloway, Oklahoma, 1985. He threw the ball 60 times on the season. It was an option team. And you think about last year and you say Jalen Hurts was a true frosh quarterback and Alabama was beating Clemson before the final drive. Jalen Hurts was 13 of 31 last year for 131 yards. It wasn't his performance that got Alabama that lead. Being a freshman quarterback with, again, last week, Fromm was 20 of 29 for 210 yards, but you saw the defense line up 8 or 9 guys to try to stop the rush. Fromm had a little success. They had to pull those guys away, and the rush attack rushed for 300 yards on the game. Saban will stop that and not let it happen. Right now, again, if the line's 4.5, I think it's a lower scoring game, Brian. I agree with you. With the number 4 and 4.5, I have a slight lean Alabama, but I completely agree. It can easily be a field goal game. I lean more with the under in this.
Where do we expect this line to close?
You know, the public is probably going to come in on Alabama because they've been here for 3 straight years. Alabama was the popular side, both with the public, with the Sharps in the game against Clemson. The public was on Clemson in that game. The Sharps were on Alabama. And I still would think here, you're already at 4. It's not like we were dealing in the last game where it got locked in pretty much at 3 until late because you don't want to deal with going over the field goal. We're already over the field goal. So 4.5, 5, if it does go up, you're on dead numbers. But it is a different story if you go down.
Keep in mind the look ahead here was 3. It was 3 for whoever Alabama would have played. So it'd been pick 'em or it's 3 either way. So did the line? The public likes to play who they saw last and who looked the most impressive, which was Alabama.
Absolutely.
Which takes it from 3 to 4, 4.5, excuse me. But I could see this line going down a bit. I don't think it'll hit 3. I think it'll probably close at 3.5. Georgia's done nothing to not want to back them, and they're playing in their home state too. We forgot to talk about that. So I'm looking at probably 3.5.
That's why the tickets are so crazy. That's why you see this highest price ticket ever, because Georgia fans can drive from Athens to Atlanta. Bama fans can drive. All of a sudden, this trip to go watch a national championship game isn't flights and hotels. You're going to see the most outrageous ticket. They're 2,000 plus now. They're going to be 3,000 plus.
I'm just glad that Johnny Detroit decided to send us all there for the last year for the Christmas present. We all get to go.
Yeah. Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Good luck with that. All right, guys. Hey, this game's being played on Monday. If you want to find out who all the guys actually have on the game, basketball as well, check out Manic Monday at Wager Talk. Every Monday, $9. All the picks at wagertalk.com. Check it out each and every Monday. And guys, don't forget, if you like these videos, do us a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. And be sure to share it with your friends. We'll be back with more here at wagertalk.com.